Hi friends, welcome to another episode of Building New Hampshire. My name is Matt Mayberry. I'm the Executive Vice President of the Home Builders Association here in New Hampshire. We have a great episode for you today. Our first guest is Jocelyn Boucher. She's the North Shore Medium. She's a nationally recognized spiritual medium, and she also goes around the world healing people spiritually, physically, and mentally. And that's going to be a great interview. Then we're going to take care of your business with Allison Miliotto from Blue Lion. She's going to talk about things to prepare for the year end and how to get ready for 2023 so you can have a profitable and safe 2023, and we're all going to grow our businesses together. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hello friends, welcome to another episode of Building New Hampshire. My name is Matt Mayberry. I'm the Executive Vice President of the New Hampshire Home Builders Association, and I'm really excited to introduce you to my friend, our first guest today. Her name is Jocelyn Boucher. She is the North Shore Medium, and we're going to talk a little bit about all kinds of things, but I want you to meet my friend, Jocelyn Boucher, the North Shore Medium.
Thank you, Matt. Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. Really excited to have you. You are a spiritual medium.
Correct.
What is a spiritual medium?
A spiritual medium is someone that channels past loved ones or energy that has transitioned or not still here in the physical plane.
What makes the difference between a spiritual medium and a psychic?
A spiritual medium is a messenger. I like to consider myself the bridge between both worlds, and a psychic is somebody that kind of taps into your energetic field and gets imagery of like what's to come. So they're very similar but very different because we're channeling different energies and seeing different things and using clairvoyancy, but medium is more like a messenger and psychic is more of a fortune teller.
Wow. Before we get into the things that you're doing today, and you do a lot to help the community, and ladies and gentlemen, she's an international star. She just got on the cover of a national magazine talking about being the most spiritual woman of inspiration in America. You've been Trinidad, Tobago, Cairo. Where else have you taught?
So I'm international, so I travel all around the world. So my next upcoming travels would be Egypt, Cairo, Kenya. I'm doing Ireland and Scotland and Bali and Hawaii. So I travel probably like 12, 14 times a year leading spiritual retreats for women.
So how did you get into this? Did you wake up one day and have all these voices knocking on your forehead saying, hey, let me in, let me in? I mean, how did you get to this point?
Kind of. So I believe it's trauma induced. You know, I've experienced a lot of loss in my life. And by going through the different losses and traumas, I fully believe that it heightened my sensories. And growing up, I lived in a funeral home, so my imaginary friends were real. You know, just through life experiences, the messages that I was getting and the people I was channeling were in fact actually people that lived here before, lived a human experience.
Wow, but you also went to college, you went to school so you could run your business, because this is it's a good business, but a busy business.
Yeah, I'm very busy. So I went to actually school for business and accounting, and I worked in corporate as an accountant. And then after that degree, I went back to school for marketing and business. And then I went back again to get my BA in holistic alternative medicine. And after that, I went back for shamanism. So I'm basically an energy doctor now at this point and working with people and their soul loss and trauma. Because as a medium, you know, people, you know, suffer from loss and grief. So I hold that space for people when they come into my office, not only giving them messages of their departed, but also bringing back the essence that they've lost, basically kind of like a grief counselor.
Oh. Shamanism, what is that? Is that like newfangled witchcraft?
No, well, shamanism is a very old, you know, I want to say you know, like Native Americans, you know,
Yes.
when they work with the spirit realm, the realm, and you know, working with energy. So a shaman is basically a person that works with energy. So it's definitely different than witchcraft or
Oh, of
paganism or
course.
Wicca, things like that. So we're basically energy doctors bringing back, you know, the essence that people have lost, bringing back their light, their vitality, and their essence, so they can live a healthier and more vibrant life.
We have hundreds of thousands of people who are watching you right now,
Mm-hmm.
and they're sitting at home a little skeptical. Like, what does this mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I see it on Bravo TV, and it's like, but who should be coming to see you? I went to see you because I had some unresolved issues,
Right.
and walked in, and you helped provide that healing and that path for me to heal myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I thought it was important for you to talk to, our friends, that who should be coming to see you. Someone sitting home, is that for me?
Right. So I get this question a lot. So I'm a national certified medium. So I've already been through my test services and, you know, and been trained, and basically I've proven myself that with as an evidential medium that I have proven that the life continues on, the continuity of life. But people come to see me as a spiritual medium, wanting just to connect to the other side so they can find peace and closure. Because sometimes when people die, you know, there's no closure and there's unfinished business. So people come to me for that closure and those messages from their past loved ones. People come to me for more of a spiritual healing. So that's different from mediumship. That's more the shamanism. So when people are experiencing trauma, you know, in their life, I help them, you know, heal from that trauma. And then, you know, running these spiritual retreats all around the world, people come to me to find healing, or if they're going through a spiritual awakening, to find their life's purpose and to understand better like why we're here, and you know what these lessons are and what they mean.
We're going to repeat this at the end of the interview, but how can someone get in touch with you?
So all over the internet, so they can find me on, you know, my website, North Shore Medium. They can find me on Instagram at Medium North, and I'm also on Facebook.
Perfect. You also have, we're going to talk a little bit about community service, but you're also dedicated to helping people find their energy, their talent, because they feel like, I've got this gift and I don't know what to do with it. So you also have a school.
Yes,
Can you tell a little bit about that?
Yes, I just opened up a school called Seacoast School of Spiritual Arts, and I hold space for people like us, you know, students, to develop their talents, to develop their gifts, and bring resources forward. So if a child is a sensitive and a child is a seer, and working with the parents or the child, or, you know, adolescents, you know, develop their gifts, I bring those tools forward to help them express themselves and just fine tune, you know, their God-given gifts.
Absolutely. And speaking of gifts, you share your gifts with the community a lot.
I do.
You help raise a lot of money for different projects. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I do a lot of events, and these events are on stage, in the opera houses, performing arts centers. I work with the community. So children, you know, working with the community, especially with children, is really near and dear to my heart. So when children, or for an example, so when I work with a community, you know, if there's a school that's in need, that need help raising money for senior project graduations, and they just can't get enough funding, I'll do an event for them and, you know, help raise money so they can have a just enough money just to celebrate the children's accomplishments. So I do a lot of fundraising for the senior project graduations. I do a lot for, you know, women on the run. I do a lot of fundraisers for, you know, veterans, helping them get the healing or resources. I do work with the soup kitchens, you know, the making meals for the community. I also do a lot with schools internationally. I'm actually helping to build a school in Kenya right now.
Which is awesome, which is fantastic. And it's one where, someone would say, how do you shut off all the folks who want to come and talk. You know, we're talking a little bit off camera, and like, can you see everyone around me? Like, are you able to close it off so you can have some actually personal, private space, or are you just invaded all the time?
Growing up, I was invaded all the time because I didn't know how to shut it off because I didn't have a teacher or a mentor to help me fine tune my gifts, and that's why I opened up this school. Now, because I'm so conditioned and I've been doing this for a very long time, I do have a system, that I power up before a show or before a client, and then I power down. So it's basically like putting a close sign on your forehead and say, I'm not working, leave me alone. But the spirits that really need my attention will show themselves, whether I'm working or not, if they're desperate.
Yes.
So I'm not always just turned off.
Okay. That when someone comes and sees you and they really want to talk to their grandmother or their mom or their loved one or it's like that, can you summons them? Can you send out an invitation like, hey, Bob, Carol wants to talk to you?
Sometimes. So I tell people when they come into my office, like the reading's not guaranteed. Obviously we all have free will. And I just ask them to be open-hearted, open-minded, and whoever's supposed to be present at that reading will show up. Sometimes, when someone says, I'm really looking, for my husband, I can try to channel that spirit by saying his name and, really trying to focusing on his energy. And most of the time they do come in because it's setting the intention, right? It's energy. So energy is everywhere at all times.
And we're so glad we're talking to you in New Hampshire today because you're a national star. You just got on the cover of a national magazine.
Yeah.
And the bookings and the calls are going up. So I'm glad we were able to get this interview in.
Thank you.
What was that like, and how did that come about? How you're sitting in the seacoast of New Hampshire, and a call comes and says like, you are the most inspirational spiritual leader in the country right now.
Yeah.
We want to put you on the cover of a magazine. What was that like, and how did you get there?
So I was doing a radio morning talk show over the summer, and somebody heard the interview from the magazine and reached out to me, called me up and says, we want to interview you. So I went through the interview process, and they just loved my story and loved what I do for the community, and they wanted me on the cover and do a cover story on me. So it just feels, I don't know, I can't believe I'm in a magazine cover. So it just doesn't feel real because I've come such a long way and I've done so much work, and to be nationally recognized, I'm just so honored, and I'm just so humbled by this whole experience.
Absolutely. What's the one myth that you hear a lot that you wish to kind of dispel for those folks who are watching at home? As I said, hundreds of thousands of people are watching you right now. Mm-hmm. And if you could talk to them about what you do, I think for me, with that question is, if they don't want to hear bad news,
right?
They don't want to hear, I'm going to get hit by a truck.
Scary stuff.
Scary stuff. No scary stuff. But from your perspective, because you live this every day, what's the one myth that you wish to break for the public at home?
Well, it's not scary. Maybe I say it's not scary because I'm conditioned, but I work with the light. So when people are sitting with me in a private session or an event or an audience, messages from the light will never be scary. They're not harmful. They're not hurtful. And I get tested all the time by clients or people say at an event, nothing staged, because I go through a ticket master, I go through a ticketing service, so I don't even get the names of the people in the audience. And when people
so you
book
don't have
online,
plants in the audience like,
don't.
I'm wearing red, pick on me.
Yeah, no, I don't want to know anything about my clients because it kind of distracts me. And I just, when people sit with me, I just want to be that hollow bone, and just discover everything that I can about this person, but also the spirits on the other side. So I don't want to be pre-programmed. I don't want plants because that's not doing the work that I'm here to do. When people say, Jocelyn, I want to meet with, my dad, I'm like, don't tell me anything. Just come and sit with me. Yeah. I'm an evidential medium, and this is why I'm here and where I'm at in my career, because I bring evidence forward and I've proven the continuity of life. So people need to have their own experience, right? So this is why I became an evidential medium, because I I love science. You know, I'm science based, and I keep looking for and searching for answers, or I'm just looking for hardcore evidence. So I tell people that you need to sit with me and have your own experience. I can sit here and tell you all day long that, you know, a loved one is here in spirit, but if I'm not bringing that validation or that evidence, you're not going to believe me. So you have to have your own experience. You know, whether you're a believer or not believer, have your own experience.
Perfect. And speaking of experiences, how can they find you as we wrap up today?
So just find me on the internet, northshoremedium.com. Follow me on Instagram, Medium North. I do have a YouTube channel, so I'm all over the web.
Absolutely. You have shows coming up, and you'll be playing, you know, before large stadiums, and it's fun. And I'm so as your friend, I'm excited to watch you grow, and just, you know, some really well-deserved honors coming your way, and excited for my friend, the North Shore Medium.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.